Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.
Welcome to Kalamazoo Lively Arts, the show that takes you inside Kalamazoo's vibrant creative community and explores the people who breathe life into the arts. I'm John Koch here at Miller Auditorium. On today's show, we'll sit down with Nashon Holloway, a soulful songstress and Kalamazoo native. And we'll sit amongst large-scale ink drawings as we talk to artist Tom Rice. But first, we visit Things of Steel, where we find Michelle Zorich and Catherine Martin bending, cutting, and sculpting metal into beautiful and functional works of art.
Oh my gosh, Michelle, I'm all suited up and you're gonna you're gonna teach me what to do here. We're making art.
I am. We have safety goggles, we have earphones, or ear protection, and put your gloves on.
Because why am I putting gloves on?
Well, just to protect your beautiful hands.
Well, I think there's more than that, but
there
why am I
is.
putting gloves on?
But we just plasma cut this, and the "You Are Here" sign, and on the back there's dross, but I decided to give you
what are we
the dog.
That's a dog.
I just cut the dog.
Okay, you cut the dog.
Wow, wow, wow. And so the back of it has dross. So in order to sell this piece, dross.
Yes, because that's the ultimate goal.
It is, to sell the piece.
Yes. Okay.
I just,
why do I need to have these on?
well, you'll hear in a minute.
Oh.
You're going to take the chisel.
Okay, the chisel.
And take the hammer. I have a hammer, you have a hammer.
All right.
And you're going to take the chisel and put it against.
You have one too.
Yeah, put it against the,
like
yeah.
here?
Oh my,
I'm
yes.
left-handed.
Oh, good God. Now, yes.
Okay, like this. All right. So
Yes, yes.
Side of the hammer.
And then hit it. Voila.
Did I do it?
You did it.
Oh my God.
See?
We're chiseling the end here.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I want this fairly smooth.
Yes.
Okay.
But other side, God, you're adorable.
Oh, Lord.
Adorable.
And bottom line, after we're finished, where else do we need to turn?
Okay, well, we could turn it because.
Let's turn it.
Okay. Let's do the chin. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at that.
There we are.
All right.
Oh, we got the whole.
Yeah, you got that big piece. Woo!
What if I didn't do this? Then you would have, well, you have to do this, right?
Good job.
That looks good. But I'm going to finish off my job here. I never want to let
Woo!
things undone. All right, we have artists, we have magicians, we have things of steel. So tell me about your things.
Well, we create artwork sometimes just from found objects like a floor grate or a candy mold, a chocolate candy mold, and I'll make a table around it, or we'll find something and Catherine will go, oh gee, I want to make a sculpture out of that. So we never really know what we're going to make. It's all one of a kind. They're always brand new and fresh.
Talk about the design process, going from this to your piece that is to be delivered to a customer.
Michelle and I design differently. Michelle is so prolific. She can look at an object that's found and take it from A to Z in no time at all. And I have to ponder a bit more. I usually sketch out some type of drawing, and then I look at it and I decide dimensions, and then I go from there. And we oftentimes are involved in one another's process, most always, even though she starts from an object and I start from a drawing. So it's very different, but really complements one another.
We are so ebb and flow. Like Catherine thinks in her head and I'm more whimsy, and we really work well together. So after working together, we work so well together that when she's starting a piece, I'll be her sous chef. So she'll say, make a piece that's, cut a piece that's 3 feet long, and I'll go, okay, and then I sand, grind, clean it, and she'll bend it. Or I'll be working on a piece and she'll say, you need to do this. So we step back, we look at a piece, and we have a lot of good, good work.
Good energy.
Good energy.
Yeah.
All right, then, what do we
Okay, so then we sand it. Okay, you're all finished with that.
We get sandpaper.
Then we have a sander.
Oh, you gonna plug that in?
It's plugged in. Okay, so all that's nice and clean. Then we sand
A lot
it.
of prep work.
And it's going to be a little loud, so that's why we have these on. And voila! It is done. It's all nice and smooth now, and now we can sell
More
this
work.
piece.
Okay, good.
There you go.
Nice.
Woo!
How is it to be women entrepreneurs, successful women
Women,
entrepreneurs?
thank you for asking that question.
I think that there are different challenges with being a woman artist. Will sometimes be in buying steel or something, and the men there will be looking at us, what are you little ladies gonna make, and that type of thing. Or we'll be at an art show and people will come in, they'll say, well, do your husbands do this? So there's a little bit, because we're more into a non-traditional, for women, I guess, art form. It's sometimes proving ourselves, I think, that we are able to lift things and do things that maybe people don't expect us to be able to do.
And working in steel, when we create furniture and sculptures, we have a little sensuality going on. We have a little more fluidity where someone will say, wow, I could tell a woman made that. It has a lot of sensuality or movement where it's not just bulky and heavy. We tend to try to make our work look good on all sides and make it look feminine and masculine.
Yeah.
There you go, Michelle and Catherine, Things of Steel.
Nashon Holloway grew up in a musical family and has performed all over Kalamazoo throughout the years. In 2016, she dropped her debut album, The Palace and the Hut. And we sat down with her to talk about how she got started, why she writes, and the music she makes. Let's listen.
Okay, so Nashon, you're really big on harmony. What does that mean to you? Because we're not just talking musically.
No, I believe in leading harmony as a lifestyle. That means harmony in your mind, body, soul, and spirit. That means harmony between yourself and your fellow man or woman, child or elderly person. That means harmony in your decision making, harmony in your bank account. You know, it's sort of a value of altruism and spirituality for me, mostly.
So if someone was going to ask you to describe your favorite kind of music to perform, I know, where do you begin, right?
Oh yeah, I call it soul music because that's the easiest way for me to get away with the fact that it's spiritual for me. I call it soul music because I do love jazz. That's true for me because jazz, you can improvise and be honest and true to the moment. But I love rock music too. So that's probably a combination of soul and rock music maybe, and R&B and funk is where I like to live.
Right in search of fame. Went back to mama without a dollar, knew she'd holler, head to the sky, said asking why, he said, Mama.
You've performed in somewhere that I'll only dream of going. You know where that is, right?
I performed at Carnegie Hall once, and that was way back in high school with a choir that I was in. I've performed at Lincoln Center in New York, and that was amazing, and that was through Gold Company. I performed on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
With David Foster.
With David Foster. Last week, actually 2 days ago, I performed with Hans Zimmer and in a choir as well. But my favorite experiences might be the smaller ones, just because I'm starting to realize how impactful those can be. Sometimes you perform in people's homes, and sometimes no one is listening, but you've had a great time with your musicians, and that is, I don't know, that keeps things in perspective.
Yeah.
And I prefer it that way. So I try to find meaning in all of those experiences.
Tell me about your experience and what brought you to Dubai.
Basically, I just went over there. I figured I could get some work, and I did. I got a ton of work over there, and I performed. My first gig was right in front of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. And I'm listening to, in between my breaks, there's these big fountains like in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And Celine Dion is singing, My Heart Will Go On, you know, and then I'm performing, and it's just, that's why the first, my album is called The Palace in the Hut, because you have these experiences that are like this, and like this, and like this, and just ride it out. So that was part of my ride.
So what are some of the songs? What are some of the songs on your album? And maybe just pick a couple that where the inspiration came from.
And the song is called Pour More, and that's actually kind of been about like a spiritual journey for me. It's about a man named Charlie Francis who is a drunk, but he kind of finds spirituality of sorts, and I wanted the song itself to represent the arc of his. It's like, I think there's a Greek like type of story. It's called like the arc of the hero or the journey of the hero, something like that. And that's for me what I was really alluding to. And you'll hear he almost committed suicide at one point, but then he realized that he will take in this life what he gives away. And that's something that I've experienced. Another song I wrote about begging bread. It's about being broke, essentially, but not being concerned about where your bread will come from.
So Nashon, what's it been like as an artist, growing up here in Kalamazoo as a young person, and then the place that you're at right now?
It's just been very healthy, I think. And I'm committed to keeping it healthy and making sure that it grows. I believe that art is fertile ground on which a healthy community can flourish.
And you're involved in a lot of that too, with also kind of nurturing younger people and getting involved with older people. Talk about that.
Sometimes I will go to hospitals because I feel like you forget about older people, you forget about even babies that are just born that are sick. Sometimes they just need love and they're just alone in an incubator. I'm committed to like hospitals. There's assisted living places where I've gone and done performances. And there's, I go to WMU, and every semester I have a class called This Is Not a Solo. And basically I'm trying to instill in the college age kids that it's not about you. And it's not about me, we're doing this together. Even when I'm performing, that's why it's humbling, because you do not have to listen. Right. And if you don't, I'm just up there by myself, and it's cool, but it's not as important of an experience for all of us to heal.
Well, Nashon, it's been a pleasure and an honor talking to you today. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time, because I know how valuable it is. I wish you nothing but the best, and Chicago's lucky to have you, so is Kalamazoo.
Thank you.
Tom Rice is a multimedia artist working in drawing, painting, video, and performance art. He's been showcased all over the country and works with students at Kalamazoo College when he's not creating. Let's hear about his art.
All right, it's time to talk about your art. We're surrounded in a beautiful studio. What's your art, Tom?
Well, these pieces are on what people often call visqueen, or plastic drop cloth material that you can buy at a hardware store. And they're done with sumi ink.
With what?
Sumi ink.
Okay, let's expand that to a layperson.
Sumi ink is just Chinese calligraphy ink.
All right, right, Tom, I'm ready to have you take us through the process of your work.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, typically I start with a photograph. The pieces will evolve away from that photograph, but I typically have a photograph on an iPad, and so I'll start with that.
I just saw your security number. Do that again, just joking.
The brushes I use are a variety of brushes. They're not particularly fancy. A large brush, typically used, these are typically used with Sumi ink, but I use all kinds of different brushes, but they're not, it's nothing very technical.
Depends on what needs detailed. And
it depends on what size of area I'm working with. So for what I have there now in the drawing is just one layer pretty much, and I've used this brush for the whole thing. And what I will do then is I'll put a light layer across all of the drawing, laying in, kind of blocking in imagery, and then I'll work from there. I'll go darker.
And here you have your layer.
I have the layer, the first layer on this drawing. Now I'm not sure what I'm going to do everywhere, so here down at the bottom I've left it open. I might put text down there. I may add some other imagery down there. I'm not sure. So this is just where it starts. So this is just a sort of one day of activity, work, a day's worth of work.
What do you want to add to it today?
Sure.
What's your mission? I see some writing. I see some nature. What's going on?
Well, these are all pieces that have to do with the environment. They're environmental statements. And so the work, this piece behind me right here, is part of a body of work called Monuments to the Ephemeral. And they represent geological features that are disappearing because of climate change. So in this case, with this piece right here, that's called the Great Glacier. And then it's actually doesn't exist anymore. And so the piece is a representation, it's a monument to a geological feature that doesn't exist anymore. And many of the pieces have water in them because water is typically associated with climate change. A lot of either we don't have it, or you have too much of it, or it's in ice form, it's disappearing, all that kind of thing.
So I'm ready to have you add to what's already been done.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have to get the value that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be working in this area right here, and just making that area darker, essentially. Okay, so I have to figure out what the value of that is going to be. I don't want it to be completely black yet, because I want to work from light to dark.
Yes.
And so I work gradually, typically. So I want to see what this is.
So you literally pour your paint?
Sometimes
ink,
I'll do it.
Should I say?
Yeah,
ink?
this is watered down, so
yeah.
I'm not even sure what this value is. So what I'm going to do is check. And I always have to have a
take your picture
paper
with you.
towel there
Yep.
in case it starts dripping.
Oh.
And my guess is that's not dark enough. Well, it's pretty good. But I'll probably want it to be a little darker.
You can't really make a mistake, can you?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can wipe this stuff off. So that's probably not as dark as I want it, so I'm going to come back over here.
And re-dip?
Well, what I'm going to do is make a little bit darker value and just by pouring it into this.
And using, choosing that as your brush, right? Is what you've done.
Yeah, and the reason I'm using this brush right now is because of the size of the area I'm going to be working. And I do typically move up and down because I like to see the work from a distance every time that I make a change to it. So at this point.
And you didn't have to use a pencil to do an outline?
No, I work pretty much with shape.
Nice. You work to music or anything? Or
I don't. I
okay,
typically, that's something
about
I'm a little different than a lot of artists. They typically work with music, but I always say I like to make art when I'm making art, and I listen to music when I'm listening to music. So I typically don't listen to music. In fact, a lot of times my studio mate will come in and not know I'm here because the drawings are hanging and I'm quiet.
And there's verbiage. How does that come into play?
And the monuments to the ephemeral pieces, they're all love letters that I've written. So in this piece back here, this is about the great glacier that's no longer in existence. This one's actually a love letter to my son, who is going off to college. So there's often in these monuments to the ephemeral pieces, there's not a direct connection of the text to the image, but they're both about ephemeral issues, about love and the environment. They both need stewardship and to care for them, and so that's how they relate.
Are these sensitive? Will they tear easily?
Yeah, I mean, they're fragile, but they're meant to be fragile. The environment is fragile, and so these are representations of the environment and our effect on the environment. So they move when you walk by them. That's meant to sort of demonstrate the impact of our bodies on the environment. If you rub up against them with any kind of aggression, they'll smear off or wipe off, and they can tear easily as well.
Take me through the process of what value means.
So value in drawing and painting is the darkness and lightness of a tone. So this is a fairly dark value, and that's a very light value. And these pieces, when they're hung out in the space, will become much lighter in value than they look on the wall. So the piece that's in back of us there is very dark, and it will look much lighter when it's hung out in the space. So when they're against the wall, they look dark. So this is a light value. That's the lightest value I'm going to get because there's no ink there, and this is the darkest value that's here right now. But it might go darker.
All right. Looks like you've got work to do.
That's right. Yeah, it'll be a while.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Kalamazoo Lively Arts. Next week, we'll meet Caravan of Dreams, Ellen Nelson, and Early Music Michigan. We leave you tonight with a performance by Nashon Holloway at the Arts Council of Greater Kalamazoo's Concerts in the Park. I'm John Koch. Have a great night.
It's not quite a lullaby. An oak tree, come on, I seen a fool afraid to love. Oh Lord, I see the things nobody else sees, but I know that ain't enough. Oh Lord, pray to there, I'll change my mind. I won't be begging bread all my life, all my life. Begging bread. I made some money from a dummy. Come on. I gave it away to save a smile. Oh Lord. So since I gotta run on empty, hey, won't you hug me for a while? Oh Lord, hey, pray to there, I'll change my mind. I won't be begging bread all my life, all my life. Yeah, begging bread. Begging bread.
Thank you so much. That was Begging Bread.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.